Irish nurses were led into the courthouse for a hearing on their possession of alcohol, which is banned in the kingdom. This is their 16th day of captivity, and it doesn't appear that their ordeal will be over soon.
Help us! Please, bring us home!
Your flight's arrived, Ambassador?
Thanks.
That's a disgrace, don't you think? What they're doing to those 4 girls? I mean, 5 years of having a drink.
The External Affairs Minister has led the Irish response to the crisis, insisting that he has full confidence in the Saudi justice system. Behind the scenes, negotiations are rumoured to be intense.
This is the offer. The nurses will be convicted and sentenced to set an example, but the sentence will be commuted and they will immediately be deported and returned to Ireland.
Fair enough, and?
The announcement must be made by the Saudi government and not by us. The decision must be seen to be a unilateral one.
I see. So what do you suggest I discuss with the press this morning? The weather?
It would be a safe option. The Saudi representative, Badr Hashim, will appear with you this morning.
Not the ambassador?
No, sir. He will shake your hand, confirm ongoing friendly relations between Ireland and the Kingdom, and sign a meaningless resolution encouraging Saudi investment in the Irish racing industry.
Racing industry? Well, tell me you're joking.
This will be a prelude to an announcement in Saudi later this week that the nurses will be returned home.
Can we live with this? We can live with this.
Thank you. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
I've missed you.
Mom, people are watching.
Okay. What are you doing in my room? Get out! Get out of my room. What do you think you're doing? Leave my things alone. Leave my things alone. What do you say? Don't you do that. Betty, what are you doing? Take these things out. Who told you to do this? Who told you, huh? Is somebody going to answer me? It's all right. Go on. Go back into your room. Go on. I'll make it all right. Will you answer me?
Minister, please. When will the nurses be returned, Minister? Minister, one moment. Minister, just one question, please. Minister. When will the nurses be returned?
It's lovely weather today, isn't it? Spring is on the way.
Can you explain why we are discussing the Irish racing industry with the Saudis when they are holding 4 of our citizens?
As I've already said, I have full confidence in the Saudi justice system, and it's not our business to be interfering in the internal laws of another country now, is it? Besides, I think it's fair to say that racing is dear to every Irishman.
Do you think the nurses are bothered with horse racing when they're locked up in a prison like they are?
I think they'll be watching the big race like everyone else on Saturday. I get it.
Minister, are you saying the nurses will be home by the weekend?
Dad! What do you think you're doing? We're not in Saudi. Badr? Badr, speak to me.
Where are we going?
Home.
Riyadh?
It's great, isn't it?
It's okay.
Dublin's got a lot to offer, Sam. I think you're going to like it. I've been trying to think of a few things for you to do during the holes.
Oh, you know Adrian, my roommate. His parents have a house in Sussex. And they've invited me to stay. Would you mind if I went back early?
No. Brill exam results. I was so proud.
I know, Becky told me. Of course. She said you were going to congratulate me when you had a moment. She asked if I was bribing my maths teacher. Oh, on Friday they put up the list of the first 11. And, well, I didn't think I'd made it.
Oh, sorry. Hello? Oh, well, I'll be back in the Chancery in a few moments, so we'll discuss it then. Sorry, Sam. Now, we were talking about your maths teacher, weren't we?
Yes, madam. The 3:20 to London. How would you like to pay?
It's okay, Peter. We're going to London.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Hashim. The bank won't honour this card. I'm going to have to withhold it.
Mum, what is it?
Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. I promise you.
No!
Sammy!
Hi.
Welcome home.
I mean, welcome to Dublin.
Home is where the heart is, young man.
Then I'm really confused.
He's cancelled the credit cards, he's closed my bank account, he's planned the whole thing. Oh, he'll be watching the airport, the ferry, the railway station. I'm trapped. You have to help me. Well, who else can I turn to, please? No, you listen to me. I will do what I have to do. Do you understand? Yeah. No, in an hour.
It's okay, I suppose. Not really my taste.
Well, Terence Conran, I suppose we'll have to get the decorator in.
It's not that bad.
You all right, you two? Fine. Oh, did you know that your son's been studying interior design at school?
Becky,
Do you like your room?
it's perfect.
Right. Well, I've got to get back to the Chancery, so I see you for dinner, 8 o'clock sharp.
Okay.
Mum, there's something you should know. I've become a vegetarian.
Oh, dear. That beautiful British beef I ordered specially will have to go to waste.
Don't you get tired of taking the piss out of me?
No.
50p in the swear box. Well, I'll see you later. Beck, did you manage to get in touch with Nate?
He wouldn't miss a free meal.
Mum, one other thing. I really did enjoy the show today.
Peter. Come on. We must hurry now.
Where?
Never mind that now. Just get in the taxi.
Right.
What about tomorrow?
You're meeting a delegation of MPs and Irish ministers to discuss EU agricultural quotas.
In the evening?
It's a dinner.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it? I want to spend more time with Sam. Couldn't Stephen attend for me?
I'll check with him.
How's Friday looking?
Our reception with the British owners, trainers and jockeys who are entered in the Leopardstown Stakes on Saturday.
What, no horses?
They're not on the guest list.
Harriet.
Stephen! Jenny said you wanted to talk to me. Please sit down, won't you? Thanks, Jenny. Do you know anything about racing?
Not a jot.
No, you and me both. I bet Julian knows his way around a paddock. Now, Stephen.
We've just received a telegram from the PUS. Apparently, the Ministry of Defence have been quietly negotiating to supply a very large number of fixed-wing military aircraft to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which they hope to sign by the end of the week. The PUS doesn't want anything to happen that might damage British interests. He's reminding us firmly not to take sides, make comment, or become involved in any way in the diplomatic situation Ireland and the Kingdom find themselves in over the 4 nurses.
Thank you, Stephen. It wasn't on my list of things to do. Stephen, was there a reason you felt you should collect the telegram?
You weren't here, and it was from the permanent Under-Secretary. I thought it might need immediate action.
I see. All right, Stephen. Well, I'm off home now. If anything should arise that might need immediate action, you'll know where to find me, won't you? Jenny, get me a copy of Sporting Life, will you?
Yes,
Right. John, know anything about horses?
Sure, full legs, thick necks, guys in pajamas.
Did you want me?
No. Ambassador?
Right.
I am a British subject. I am in danger, and I demand protection from my embassy.
Madam, it would be really helpful if you could calm
No,
down.
I will not calm down. There is absolutely no reason to be calm.
We would like to help you, but I think it's more appropriate for you to contact the Guardian. Why don't you come with me to my office? I'll make you a cup of tea, and I'll phone them for you.
What is wrong with you? You're not listening to me. I want British protection, asylum, refuge, not a cup of tea.
Can I help?
I doubt it.
Well, let me give it a try. What kind of danger do you think you're in?
Mortal.
I see. Have you spoken to the Gardaí?
No.
Why not?
Because they wouldn't be able to help.
And why is that?
Can I see your passports, please?
Well, there's one. My son's on mine. I gave it to her. Look, please, can I speak to someone who's in charge?
You are.
We have a problem.
The husband may have filed a missing persons report. You better contact the Gardaí and let them know they're here.
I'll prepare a telegram from the Foreign Office.
Not yet.
She's the wife of a Saudi
We
diplomat.
don't have enough information, Stephen.
It has political and trade implications. It would be appropriate to inform them.
You're absolutely right. And when it's appropriate, I'll let you know. Jenny, can you come in, please?
The Gardaí couldn't help. My husband has diplomatic immunity. He can do anything he wants to. What can they do?
Jenny, this is Peter. Could you take him for a snack? Anything you fancy, Peter.
Yes. It's all right, go on. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I'm sorry I made such a fuss earlier. I didn't know what else to do.
Now, you said you were in mortal danger.
Without any kind of warning, my husband decided we were going back to Riyadh. I was afraid. Afraid for Peter and afraid for myself.
Why? Why were you afraid? You see, unless I can satisfy myself that your life is really in danger, I can't offer you refuge.
Well, he wants a divorce. He wants to take Peter from me. That's why we were going back. In London, he wouldn't have a prayer of taking a child from his mother, but in Saudi...
Yes, I understand your fear of losing your son, but that's still not a good enough reason for me to have you here.
Why? Why isn't it? Well, losing your child, your baby, isn't that reason enough?
I can't. I can't intervene in a marital dispute, nor in a case of child custody.
You don't know what he's capable of.
Look, I can get you a cab, and they'll take you to a hotel. Car for Mrs. Hashim, please.
Well, the journalists just make it up, don't they? I didn't make any announcement. They took my remark out of context. Thomas, prepare a note of apology to the Saudi Foreign Ministry for any misunderstanding. And if the Irish people are under the mistaken belief that I had a pivotal role in securing the nurse's release, well, that's just a cross I'm going to have to bear.
Excuse me, Minister.
Butter.
I'll sort out a room for you, and I promise I'll do everything in my power to make sure that you're safe.
Thank you.
What size shoes do you wear?
Look, Badr, it's a British issue, not an Irish one.
But we are in Ireland.
But the British Embassy is sovereign British territory, and you know that. Your wife and son are British citizens.
I'm asked to do what I can to bring your nurses home, but when I ask your help to have my son returned, you turn your back on me.
It's an unavoidable reality, Badr. There is little I can do to help you get your son without your wife's or the British ambassador's consent.
These young women, your nurses, they knowingly broke our laws. It is a very serious matter to us. Now, how can I recommend a speedy resolution? I'm beginning to think that much more consideration is needed. I won't expect them home by the weekend.
The last thing the FO wants now is a diplomatic row with the Saudis.
Yes, but if I send her away tonight and we find her floating face up in the Liffey, you think the FO would like that?
No. No, I don't think they'd be keen on that.
Of course no one would want that, Ambassador, but you have to make a considered judgment.
I have, Stephen, and it stands for tonight. We'll review it in the morning. Julian, I'd like you to prepare a telegram for the FO. Tell them that I'm offering Mrs. Hashem refuge and her son, and I'd like to see it before it goes.
Yes, Ambassador.
Does Flaherty know?
Ambassador, the External Affairs Minister's office is on the line.
I think he does.
Minister Flaherty needs to see you urgently in the morning.
All right, Jenny. At his convenience.
If the press get hold of this...
It's never a good idea to let the press dictate policy, is it?
Well, you appreciate the implications, I hope. When this news reaches the Saudi Foreign Ministry, it will strain their patience. The political fallout will be disastrous. It could put the aircraft sale into jeopardy.
Look, however disastrous this may be, this woman is in distress. And however awkward it may seem, she presents a human cost which you may not have factored into the price of your fixed-wing aircraft.
It's worth pointing out the potential, and let me stress, potential damage that this could do to Anglo-Irish relations, and putting Mr. Flaherty in an extremely awkward position.
Noted. Thank you, Julian.
You're welcome.
Perhaps I am wrong, Ambassador. But I believe it's my job to consider the overview of British interest and to advise you accordingly.
Thank you, Deputy Ambassador, and you have done that.
And as for the human costs, I have considered it. You see, I've considered the thousands of British men and women that might lose their jobs if we lose this contract. Perhaps you've overlooked them.
Come on now, settle down. I'll send Modesty Poo in to see you. What was the other one? One hung low.
You look tired. No, I'm fine. Was he disappointed I missed dinner?
Didn't seem bothered.
I don't know which is worse.
He knew that something must have come up. He enjoyed seeing Nate anyway. Came home with a suitcase full of dirty clothes.
I'll put them in.
Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. Oh, leave the door open a bit. He doesn't like sleeping with it shut.
I don't want you to feel alone in this. I see it as a problem for both of us. We need to find a face-saving way for all concerned, for Mrs. Hashem and her son to be returned with the least amount of fuss and the minimum risk of press involvement. Now, if we could achieve that this morning, I'd be most grateful.
Mrs. Hashem and her son are British subjects, Minister, and they've sought the
Yes,
protection
Ambassador,
of
I'm
my-
well aware of what she has sought. Let's move past that now and focus on what I, and I'm sure you, are seeking.
I am seeking to ensure the safety of Mrs. Hashem and her son. Minister, Mrs. Hashem has been physically abused. Did the PUS phone?
Yes, Ambassador.
Can you get it back for me?
He spoke to Mr. Tyler in your absence.
I need your help. son Sam. I thought Peter might like some company.
Hi. Hi.
Why don't you two go and explore a bit? Oh, here. I hope they fit.
Oh, thank you.
Christine, I'm going to need your cooperation. Stephen, I apologize for keeping you waiting. I haven't had a moment.
This situation with this woman and her boy is threatening to escalate beyond our control. I would advise you to give it your complete attention.
Thank you. Your advice is noted.
Moreover, I don't believe we should proceed on the course you have taken without hard evidence of this alleged physical abuse.
I'm in complete agreement.
Good. Good.
Stephen, this is Dr. Siobhan McGinley.
Hello?
I asked Dr. McGinley to examine Christine Hasham this morning.
They're here, Ambassador.
Thanks. Could you ask Mr. Stone and Mr. Wadham to join us? And Stephen, if you have the time, I'd like you to stay.
Do come in, Minister.
Minister? Thank you for coming here. I know we're breaking protocol.
Well, let's find a solution, Ambassador, why don't we?
Now, Dr. McGinley would like you to see some photos.
I never laid a hand on her. Never. How dare you? What lies did she tell you?
In my opinion, the wounds and bruising on the chest and abdomen of Christine Hasham are not self-inflicted.
But I didn't do it.
Thank you, Doctor. Mr. Hasham's diplomatic immunity prevents his wife from taking recourse to the police. And therefore I feel I have no choice but to offer her refuge in this embassy until such time as she and her son can safely be repatriated.
I never struck her.
Thank you, Ambassador, for taking the time to explain why you've made the decision you've made.
You thank her. You believe these lies?
As Mr. Hasham denies these allegations, I believe we find ourselves at an impasse.
Give me my son, and I will return to Saudi today. My wife is free to stay here or go wherever she wants. I have no interest in her. I want Walid.
Walid?
Mrs. Hasham calls him Peter.
Give me Walid, and there is no impasse.
Look, who's that fat man? What is he wearing? It's a flannel, I think. No, it's a Tito.
Now, this is a problem we should be able to solve in this room. I'm correct in saying that the boy is unharmed, and Mr. Hasham denies the accusations made against him. Now, we can defuse the situation by returning Walid to his father, and I will ensure they are safely on a flight back to Saudi, removing any alleged threat to Mrs. Hasham.
I can't do that, Minister. Mrs. Hasham fears for the safety of her son, and I'm responsible for both of them.
This is no less than kidnapping by a foreign government.
I don't think that's an appropriate assessment of the situation, Mr. Hasham.
On Friday, Britain hopes to complete the largest military aircraft sale in recent memory to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. How could we possibly do business with a country that kidnaps one of our citizens? We can buy from whomever we choose, remember that. No one has anything to gain from this situation.
I would have thought a course of compromise would be welcome, Ambassador, in view of our various relationships.
My wife has lied to you, and you chose to believe her at the expense of my reputation. This is an insult I will not tolerate. You are playing a very dangerous game, Madame Ambassador. I want my son, and I will do everything in my power to get him back. Of that you can be certain.
While I appreciate Mrs. Hasham's fears, I think we have to weigh them against our long-term diplomatic and commercial interests.
I can't help but wonder what the press might make of this. Should they discover that the Minister for External Affairs has placed an innocent woman and child at risk? Wouldn't cover any of us with glory.
Is that a threat?
No. Just thinking out loud.
I'm very disappointed in the way this has been handled.
That went well.
just come in. The Saudis have walked out of the aircraft negotiations and cancelled tomorrow's session.
It's one of the largest fields ever for the Leopardstown Stakes, you see.
Is it?
He knows everything about horses. His dad takes him to the races all the time. They even go see them train.
Your dad takes you?
Yeah, he used to watch them train when he was my age. This one's my horse, Desert Sky. He's on good form. Definitely worth a flutter.
Is he?
Getting a hot tip?
I think so.
I'm going to go for Lady Jane Grey. If you're backing British, I'd stick with Henry Cecil.
Is he on good form?
He's a trainer.
Oh. Well, now, I think we better continue this briefing a little later. See you later.
Bye. So what do we do first?
Am I alone on this?
You've taken a moral stand. That's admirable.
I felt I had no choice.
Problem is, you need a black and white world to go with it.
It looks pretty black and white to me.
Tell you what I don't understand. Why does she wait till the last minute to try to get away? It's 2 hours by train to Belfast. There are flights virtually every hour to London. If she was in danger, why didn't she leave sooner?
She thought she was being taken to Saudi. She panicked. There are women beaten by their husbands every day of their lives and they still don't leave home. I don't know. I haven't got an answer.
She jumps in the car around lunchtime, turns up here at 5. Where'd she go for 4 hours?
Why is it that women who are the victims always end up being the accused?
I want to make sure you don't end up the victim, Harriet. I think Mrs. Hashim was having an affair.
What's this?
I had a phone put in her room. You never know if they'll use it, but it's funny how people can't resist phones. It's good to talk and all that.
Are all the phones in this building tapped?
No. No, of course not.
Mum gave me £5 for the canteen. That'll be plenty. Desert Sky's 33-1 and Lady Jane Grey's 20-1. So if either of us win anything, we'll split it. Deal?
It's a deal. And then I'll show you this lady who's had her head cut off.
What lady? Where?
Hello? I'm sorry to have been a nuisance. Christine, I told you never to call me again.
Unlisted mobile. I think the affair is over. The world's never black and white, Harriet.
But how does this change anything?
Badr Hashim swore he didn't hit her. If she was having an affair, he has a motive.
Oh, you're not trying to tell me that an affair justifies a beating?
No. Mrs. Hashim accuses. Mr. Hashim denies. Flaherty has to believe him. You have to believe her. Both of you are caught in the middle. Prove Hashim's a liar and a wife beater, and you let Flaherty off the hook.
Well, let's see what she has to say for herself. Christine, I need to talk to you.
I can't find Peter. I've looked for him everywhere.
He's with Sam.
They're not in the building.
John?
I'll check.
Where is this magic show then?
I don't know. They've probably gone on tour or something.
Idiot.
Hey!
Magic show? What magic?
Get the car now.
Okay, let's go.
Nothing.
I think I know where they've gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet. No, it's gone. Well, you said it was here. So what I need more
Walid! Walid!
Walid!
for you. Yeah, the car's just up here. She was worried about you.
Here's my son! For God's sake, let me have my son!
Hi, Stone. I need a copy of an itemized phone bill. If it was mine, would I be asking for it?
Nate!
Amazing. You're here.
Sorry about last night.
It's normal. Sam and I had a bit of a laugh, actually, once he realised I was winding him up about being adopted. Difficult age, 13. Not that I remember. I think you'd better speak to him.
Okay, I will.
I wouldn't lecture him, okay? I don't think he's in the mood. Not bad having him around, you know? Makes a change. Even when he's having a wobbly. Don't set one for me. I've got plans.
It's a very complicated situation.
So you think I'm too thick to understand?
No! It's just that Peter's mother feels that he'll be safer with her. And that's why they came to the embassy.
Well, maybe he wants to be with both of them. Maybe he wants to feel like he's part of a family. Not just a parcel to be passed around.
Becky, what would you think if Sam stayed here? Didn't go back?
You're asking the wrong person. You should be asking him.
John, what is it?
It's bad. That's what it is. This is Gerald Morton, Army Forensics.
How do you do?
He's just come down from Belfast.
What, should we go into the study?
There is no way you can prove conclusively who hit the subject beyond her account of what happened. Some time has elapsed. She's washed. You won't find any physical evidence on her person. From these photographs, you have only two pieces of objective evidence. First, there are no marks on her arms or forearms.
Well, what does that mean?
Hey!
Oh!
She didn't try to protect herself.
Do me a favour, Gerald. She's the ambassador.
No,
for God's sake.
that's
Sorry,
very good.
sorry.
That makes the point. Well, what's the second?
From the direction of the blows and the way the marks tail off from the point of impact across the epidermis. I'd say whoever hit her was left-handed.
Have a look at this. I think Hashim was telling you the truth. I don't think he touched her. I have a terrible feeling, Harriet, that you have been hoisted.
I want the name of the man she's having an affair with.
Just his name.
Peter, can you pop outside for a moment? You were having an affair.
He was going to take my son.
Peter's your husband's son, too. He never hit you, did he?
I say he did. Prove that he didn't.
Who hit you?
I've told you.
I don't like being lied to.
I find that surprising, seeing as you do it for a living. I'm a British subject. I came to you for protection. I expect you to provide it.
You may be disappointed.
What's going to happen to me?
External affairs.
Shell Guest House.
Hello. I wonder if you could tell me where you're located, please.
Ambassador, there's...
Deputy Under-Secretary.
Ambassador, I'm sorry not to have given you notice of my arrival from London. Under the circumstances, there wasn't time. The permanent Under-Secretary is very concerned. Mr. Tyler's given me a full briefing.
Well, I'm glad that under the circumstances you found the time.
Relations with both the Saudis and the Irish seem to be disintegrating rather rapidly. The PUS wants you to know that he's prepared to take the required steps to resolve the matter with Mrs. Hashim if you feel you're unable to.
I see.
He appreciates it's a very difficult situation. The PUS will back your decision to direct Mrs. Hashim to leave the embassy fully and publicly. She's caused quite enough havoc as it is. It shouldn't really be the role of the embassy to intervene in a domestic dispute, should it?
That's not really a question, is it, Rupert?
No, it's not. As you know, there's a very important aircraft contract, which all parties hope will be concluded by tomorrow afternoon. Consequently, this matter must be resolved by tomorrow morning. I shall stay in Dublin to assist you in any way I can.
Hello. I'm from the Guardian. Guardi. Have you seen her?
You're not the police. Not with that accent.
You're right. I'm not. I'm her husband. Christine's in some sort of trouble. Asked me to meet her here, so I flew over immediately.
Been married more than once, has she?
Sorry?
Oh, not her husband.
Right again. I'm her lawyer.
Well, it doesn't pay to lie.
Well, I try not to, but she sounded so distressed and asked me to be discreet.
You see, I met her other husband.
Oh, you did?
You must have felt a right fool getting caught in a lie like that.
Yes.
The other fella was better at it. I don't expect Mrs. O'Connor today.
You don't?
It must be about 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, that's when she was here last.
And was she alone?
She was with her husband, of course.
Uh-huh.
Usually he makes the bookings, but, well, he's been quite busy lately.
Has he?
Yeah, sure, it's in the papers and all.
Oh.
Oh, look, that's him.
What, him?
No, not the foreign fella. That's him there at the back.
Ah.
Ross! Ross, go on. Time to get into your tea now.
I don't think you want to have this conversation in front of your family.
I'd lose my job, my wife, and my family. I told Christine it was over. I had no idea she'd tell her husband she was leaving.
At least she didn't tell him it was you.
No. Can you imagine if she did? I mean, we were trying to get the nurses home. If he knew... It was all a mistake. It was my fault. You won't tell my wife.
You beat Christina.
She begged me. She said she was desperate. She was going to tell him she was having an affair with me if I didn't. I had no idea she'd turn up in the embassy.
You hit her. You had no idea why you were doing it.
She's a diplomat's wife, for God's sake. And she knew she'd have to prove she was in fear of her life to get refuge. She planned it. How can a man defend himself against an accusation of abuse in that situation? If she could get to Britain, she knew she'd get full custody.
Christine Hashim's a piece of work, isn't she? I hope you enjoyed yourself.
You could destroy me! I beg you not to!
Your wife doesn't need to know.
What is it you want?
I hear you've had a change of heart, Ambassador. Not before time. How can I help?
Mrs. Hashem's leaving the embassy tonight.
Good.
Seems she was having an affair.
So Stephen tells me. Well, explains everything.
With your private secretary, Thomas O'Neill. Huh? I thought I should let you know because when she goes, she may be inclined to go public. She's a desperate woman and she's terrified of her husband. We need to work together on this, Minister.
My husband beat me up. That's what happened. I'm not changing my story. I know it's diplomatically inconvenient, but that's your problem. It's not mine.
Do you know what the punishment is for adultery in Saudi Arabia? They stone you. They stone you till you're dead.
That's rubbish.
You conspired with Thomas O'Neill to deceive me.
What choice did I have?
She's talking nonsense. Throw her out.
No.
Just throw her out.
No. If he takes Peter, I'll never see him again.
Under my protection, you will leave this embassy tonight and you will fly with Peter to London. And there, the issue of his custody will be resolved by a British court.
I'll lose Peter.
You may do. I imagine the court will want to hear what he has to say. They'll act in his interests. Now, you either accept this or you take your chances in Dublin. Mr. Hashim, thank you for coming.
I'm only here because Mr. Flaherty asked me to come. I hope I'm not wasting my time.
I hope I'm not wasting mine.
The quicker you give me my son, the quicker this will be over.
Mr. Hashim, you've been badly treated. You've been wrongly accused and placed in an impossible situation.
Then give me my son, and all this can be forgotten.
I want you to allow your wife and child to go back to England, so that the issue of Walid's custody can be resolved by a British court.
Is this what you offer? Never. She will never see him again, not after what she's done.
You knew your wife was having an affair, didn't you? You were taking her back to Saudi so that she could be punished under your laws.
I was taking her back so that she can receive justice.
Against her will. Is it justice for Walid never to see his mother again? Whatever she's done, he doesn't deserve that.
You slander my country. Because I come from Saudi, you presume that I am capable of such abuse. You presume that I am guilty. And you expect me to believe that I will receive justice in Britain.
Please don't go. You're right. And I apologize. We've all leapt to conclusions, all in the name of justice. And that must stop. The only important thing is your son's happiness. Walid is a beautiful child. I've got to know him over the last few days, and I know how much he loves you, and how heartbroken he'd be if he were to be separated from you.
Then don't break his heart.
Of course I won't. But I have a problem, because he loves his mother too. And it'd break his heart if he were to lose her. He's my responsibility. And it's vital that he should have contact with both his parents. Now, I understand your fears, and I will write on your behalf and tell a British court the truth. Let them go back to England and have this matter resolved by a British court. And I promise you that I will give you all my support. Let me prove to you that Walid can find justice in our country.
fiver on that.
Where's Flaherty?
Where do you think? He's with the nurses down there.
This way, girls.
Great.
Nice big smile. This way, this
That's
way.
good.
Hi.
Sam?
Yeah?
I've been thinking and I was wondering, how would you feel about staying here?
In Dublin?
Yes.
Well, what about school?
They've got them here.
That's a shame.
And the result of the third race, the winner in a photo finish is Desert Sky. Lady Jane Grey to place. Deep blue yonder to show.
Well, at least Peter won.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe he did.